Hey guys, how you doing today? Take a minute, admire this hair, huh? What do you think? I got like this part's like swooping forward. This is like all kind of over here. Oh boy, really hoping to really really need that haircut. And soon things are getting floofy and weird. Oh well, what can you do? Today I just wanted to talk about straight up. Um, if you're paying any attention to this, I talk about the basic income. That's what I'm most interested in, because I see it as sort of the next step in our society's evolution. And we've kind of come to a point now where it's either do that or keep subsisting in sort of this wage slave position. The the idea of paying people a wage to do work made sense like 100 years ago when everybody did have to work in order to survive. It's just not the case anymore. And honestly, I do mildly retract that statement. Like I think that wage slavery is slavery, right? Like if you're being paid a wage and someone is taking the surplus of your labor, well, you stop and pause for a moment and you think, okay, well, what happens if I stop working for these people? If I stop working for these kinds of individuals? You find out very quickly, oh, I would starve, right? And if you're put into this position where it's work a job that you don't want to work or starve, that's slavery, right? And they can try to make the meager hours that you get outside of the slave system as nice as possible, which is exactly what they'll argue. But the reality is that what we're arguing for is our time, and every time the opponents of things like a basic income, or even people who are like, you're just being hyperbolic and hysterical. People had it so much worse in the past. What they're trying to dismiss is exactly what we're talking about, which is that we want our time back. We're sick and tired of wasting our time for people who clearly don't care about us. And we would rather spend our time doing literally anything else. Uh, the previous system was seemed acceptable. Like the whole argument, the whole neoliberal argument. This is why they're such frauds and phonies, right? The whole neoliberal argument was that, oh, it's acceptable that you spend your whole life working because the benefits of that work is going to turn around and be and improve the society. That's exactly what's going to happen. The neoliberals lied directly to our faces repeatedly over and over again. And now the time has come for us to say, hey, the society hasn't improved. In fact, it's getting much worse. We're working harder than we've ever worked before. We're working harder, certainly, than our parents worked. We get less for the work that we do. And so what's up? And we say this to them. We go, hey, what's up? And then they say, you're just lazy. You need to work harder. Because they're slavers, right? And it was always a lie, what they were saying. They were never telling us the truth. They were always lying to us. They knew they were lying to us. And so now there's going to become a reckoning. I'm not going to work another 20 years under these circumstances for these people. I'm just not going to do it. I'm never going to elect a politician that supports this. Even one that sort of hints mildly that they're sympathetic to this. These people are sociopaths. These people are slavers. They're liars, certainly. And we have no reason to listen or pay attention to a single thing they have to say. They've lied to us this whole time. They're going to continue lying to us. It's very telling that the Conservative Party is essentially just a bastion of racists, climate change deniers, and idiots, essentially, because it's the last place they have to go, right? There's no one else that they can get to vote for them. If you have a brain in your head, if you know what's going on, or even if you stop to pause and think about it for 2 seconds in your life, you would look at the Conservative Party and just be like, Jesus, never. Why would we continue supporting these lying sociopaths who have no intention of helping anyone? The absolute stupidity of the situation we find ourselves in with the basic income is that we know for a fact now, that if the objective of the basic income is to eliminate poverty from our system, it's actually cheaper to do it through a basic income than to maintain the system we currently have. Just remember that every single time you step over a homeless person from now on. Every single time you walk by a homeless person, every single time you step over one of them while they're asleep on the street corner, just realize you're paying more to keep them there. It's cheaper for you to pay to get them in a house. It's cheaper for you to pay to get food in their face. It's cheaper, right? Why is it cheaper? Because you don't need to pay for emergency services. You don't need to pay for food distribution services. You don't need to pay for bureaucracies. You don't need to pay for all of these extra things that need to exist in order to deal with people who have fallen into poverty. Instead, you just need to have the government cut a check through a negative income tax scheme or through a basic income scheme. It's something that we're literally doing right now, right? Not forget about the CERB program. Like, you take a look at the old age pension, you take a look at the child benefit, the child care benefit. Those are basic incomes. And no one, not even the most rapacious sociopathic conservative, is going to say we should get rid of that. No one's going to say that. Why? Because it's a system that works, and it's cheaper to do than any other solution that exists. And this is the thing. It's the cheapest option, right? Like, let's forget about the moral argument, forget about the empathetic argument, forget about any of that. It's the cheapest option, right? It's exactly like our healthcare system. We were told, and these neoliberal kind of fascist idiots argued that, oh no, you can't have a public option, right? Here, it'll be more expensive, and it'll be less efficient, and on and on and on. They lied the way they do, and none of that was true. It's cheaper to do it this way. We have all the evidence we need to be able to say that if we create a public sector option, if we have a single payer system, the outcomes are superior to a private system. And it's always that way. It's that way every single time. And it's not going to be different with the basic income. These guys are going to pound and scream and yell and hack quote unquote journalists like John Iverson are going to call us welfare bums, and they're going to scream their head off that, oh, how dare people get benefits, or how dare. Of course, these people will never cop to the fact that they've received the largest government handouts in their lives. If you're a baby boomer, your whole life was handed to you by the government. You had cheap education. You were living on free land that was given to your family. I'm so sick and tired of listening to these people when they directly lie. Like, they lie their asses off. And we have no reason to tolerate them anymore, and no reason to pay any attention to them whatsoever. They're always going to lie. They're going to lie consistently and openly, and as often as they possibly can. So there's just no reason to believe them, and there's no reason to trust them. And I hope that we genuinely have a situation happen soon where we all just get out on the street, or if you prefer, get into the ballot box and say, no, I don't think we need to listen to these liars anymore, right? And my sincere hope is that enough political pressure is going to come down to the liberals that they fall on the right side of this issue, on the correct side, I should say, because they work for the same people the conservatives do, right? It's just that they're more politically savvy and they understand how politics works more than the conservatives do. And I'll say it straight out. Like, I've never voted liberal in my life. I have no intention of voting liberal because they are manipulative hacks. And they'll do something like this basic income, but they'll just dangle it just gently, just, oh, okay. Because they know it's the solution. They understand it works. They know it's cheaper than any other option. They just choose to keep people in poverty. because they understand that the corporate masters they actually serve want it that way. They want people desperate. They want people living in poverty. They want people living on the streets because that's how they get cheap labor. This is a system that it's a death cult that we need to dismantle. It's untenable. I'm sick and tired of being sold into wage slavery, and I'm sick and tired of everybody accepting wage slavery. We need to stop pretending like it's anything but wage slavery. Our slavers certainly don't. Right? They call themselves employees and employers, but they understand. They know what's going on. They're the ownership class. They own people. And we need to break out of it. We need to break out of it, and we need to break out of it hard. Flush these people directly out of the society. Just banish them. Banish them. Like, I'm to the point now, like, you're telling me there's billionaires walking around? What are you talking about? Banish these idiots. Get rid of them. Like, take their assets, take their finances, take everything away. They're gone. They're no longer relevant. Let's build a society where every individual is on some kind of equal footing, where people are not buying and selling themselves because they have to for food, right? That's the arrangement we have now. And the only reason it's been tolerable is because people have waved themselves and been like, oh no, we're not, of course we're not slavers. We're not, that's so horrible that you would say that about us. No, it's not. What's horrible is throwing people into wage slavery and then pretending like you're doing something else. That's what's horrible. And just because I'm calling you out for it and using the correct language, you're a slaver, doesn't mean that you're off the hook, right? You don't get to just pretend like things are different because you're wasting my time nicely, right? We need to restructure our society, and we need to do it fast, right? I haven't even begun talking about climate change in any of these videos that I'm doing. Climate change is going to make this, the COVID-19 crisis, look like preschool. The coming catastrophes that our slaving sociopathic corporate owners are ignoring and directly profiting off of are going to come through our society and rip through in a manner that's just going to make what we're currently dealing with look like child's play. And the way that we need to get in front of it is with a basic income. We need to free people's time up so that they can face these problems head on. Because we're not doing it, and we're not being honest about it. And until we actually get honest about it, it's going to get much, much, much worse. All right, that's the end of me. Good luck out there, guys.